welcome to episode 4 of the Motorsport Files. We are talking today about the WRC and specifically Rally Sweden and a look forward to the Safari 2026. So let's just cover something straight off the bat. Last episode, I made some predictions for Sweden and frankly got it completely wrong. And I have to admit, I didn't check the entry list beforehand, and I probably should have done because if you remember, I called Oliver Solberg to win, which he might have done had he not have gone off on stage 3 and lose 30 seconds. He might have done. Silly of me, I called Seb Ogier to come in second, which would have been an amazing result if he had done, because he wasn't entered. But that's on me. And Adrian Formeau to come in third. Garry, though, you did a lot better than I did with your predictions for Sweden, didn't you?
Well, I think I started off with an edge on you by picking the entrance rather than just your fantasy rally team, which sort of didn't do you any favours this time. Yeah, I found Sweden a bit of a letdown after Monte Carlo.
Do you think? I thought it was all right. I thought it was pretty good.
I'm not saying it was bad or anything, but I think the Monte Carlo you always get excited about. It's the first rally of the season. This is new, that's new. Something's always changed. And the weather this year played a blinder. Sweden, yeah, it had the snow. There was nothing which strikes me as being fundamentally wrong. But it just felt to me just like a very ordinary run-of-the-mill round. Nothing. I can't think of a memorable moment, really. It was all very nice and very competitive and this, that, and the other. I think at the end of the day, I was really proud when I came up with this when I was making my notes on this. I just called it a Toyota whitewash.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, very good. Well done. Yes, very good. It was, though, wasn't it? It's been that way for a while, but this year just seems like that gap is becoming a chasm. It's getting wider and wider.
When I sat down and went through it a couple of days after the event and thought, what happened, this, that, and the other, and all I wrote down for Toyota was, first 4 cars, no real issues, they won 15 of the 18 stages, and they leaded the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. Now, for a team, that is a phenomenal. I know they are the world's best WRC team. There's no arguing that. They have been for some time. But that, if you're going back and reporting back to Toyota HQ and I don't know if it's UR Kankinen who has to pick up the phone to Japan or whether it's Jari Matti. But imagine sending the email back to Toyota HQ. I mean, you can't get a better result than that.
Not really. Everyone knows what the situation is. And it would be more of a surprise if Toyota didn't pull that kind of result in rally on rally, which is a sad thing to say. Back in their heyday, let's say like mid-90s or so, where they were competing in the 185 and the 205, they had competition back then. They had Lancia and a couple of others that they could fight it with. And at the moment, they don't have that. Hyundai's just fallen behind so far. They're not really competitors anymore.
You could almost argue they're not even really fighting amongst themselves. They're easily weak. It isn't a case of their top 2 drivers are coming first and second and everybody else is fighting over the placings. When you've got the top 4 cars, let's look at the opposition who we got. Hyundai, I've just written at the moment, they're hopeless.
Completely.
Yeah. The engineers and the crew kept saying, we're going to make the car more compliant. We're going to improve this. We know this is wrong. We know that's wrong. They said they played jokers and altered geometry on things and this, that and the other. And it fundamentally, obviously, doesn't appear to have worked. The drivers aren't happy. The results aren't coming. They're all complaining about traction and grip problems. Handling's not right.
I do wonder if it's got to the point where they've tried everything and they should just go back to something that they know, something from a year or 2 years ago, and just start again. Because I think they've gone so far now, they've changed so much that they're not going to know if something's actually going to improve or not.
how you can seemingly get so lost, I just find quite strange.
Well, it got it to the point on Sweden where I think it was 4Mo, wasn't it? It just wound everything up to the hill, made it as hard as it would go, just to try and get some traction. So, to me, that sounds like the whole setup was too soft, all the way, probably from the tyre pressures all the way through to the suspension settings.
Don't mention tyre pressures. Touchy subject at MSport, I think, after day one. Again, I find that quite an interesting thing that I don't know how much Ford got the tyre pressures out by. I don't know if you have any idea. Not that they'll admit to it.
No, the figures themselves weren't released, but we know that it was past the sweet spot, if you like, and it was just far too soft. I applaud them for having a go because as a third team in the series, they had to try something. They had to. And if it had worked out, we'd have called them heroes. Sadly, it didn't. It really, really didn't. It ruined what was an amazing performance by Martin Sesks on day one. And it would have been great to see what he could have done carrying that forwards. But obviously, it wasn't just Martin's, was it?
It was all of them.
It was all of them across the team. The other two boys obviously having a much better rally. I mean, should we talk about Ford? Because I am so impressed how they've turned things around this year. They're not winning, all right, but the progress that they have made over well, I think it's, just the last couple of rounds, really, since getting John Armstrong in alongside Josh McElwain, has been amazing.
Based on the last two rallies, he's making himself look like he's the guy who's coming into his second season. I know his track record's good from WRC too, but he looks like he's been driving a Rally 1 car for a whole lot longer. And I am definitely impressed. We know what Sesks can do. And if you look at the results, he did get a stage win.
Yes, he did. Stage
so,
nine.
Which, I mean, some people might go, so what? It doesn't matter. You're proving a point. You've proved a point. You've done that. So I think that from MSport, it was a good thing. They also cocked up something else as well, where I think it was two of them, the drivers forgot to remove snow covers from the radiators and overheated the cars. And
I saw that.
You think this is a bit of a comedy of errors. This is, for a team of their experience, to do something like that.
I wonder if they'd got sidetracked with something else. Tyre pressures, for instance. Maybe I'm sure I heard on the live somebody saying that it was the co-driver's responsibility. Now, the co-driver is a busy, busy person anyway. And if they've been clearing snow out of the arches, let's say, it's probably very easy to miss something like that. But it was a silly error.
It's a self-induced, avoidable incident. It's as simple as that. It makes you wonder if they hadn't have made a mess of the tyre pressures, and if they hadn't left those snow covers in, it could have been a whole lot better for them. Which again is grounds for hope.
Yeah.
Whereas when you've made errors like that, you think, right, learn from it, don't do it again. Things are bound to be better. Whereas you look at Hyundai, who don't have the luxury of knowing where the problem is. MSport knew what the problem was. They hadn't put enough air in the tyres, and they forgot to take the snow covers out. Great, you can learn from that. You can avoid it. Hyundai, it's quite clearly that nobody seemed to have an idea what to do next.
It's a bit worrying for a team as big as Hyundai that they don't know the root of their problem. And this has been, it's probably not the same problem, but this whole pattern has been ongoing for years. All the way throughout Rally 1, they just haven't really seemed to get on top of the regs in any year, which is concerning. I mean, some have obviously been better than others, but they're going to have to get somebody in. I think the only way that they're going to get to the bottom of it is to get some new engineering blood into that team. A fresh pair of eyes essentially, just to have a look and go, we need to rethink this. Maybe simplify. Maybe things have got too overcomplicated. We don't know. We're not working in the factory, but they need to tear that car down and seriously have a good look at each individual element, really. Otherwise, they might just get overtaken by MSport.
Or is it just a cold weather thing? We've had 2 cold weather rallies, or are they going to get to the safari, nice bit of mud or dust or both, and lo and behold, it's the car to beat?
That would be a nice story. I mean, obviously the modern day safari we'll come on to the safari in a bit and preview it properly, but the modern day safari is much more of a sprint than it ever used to be. Safari was always a marathon, wasn't it? So it's, I think a lot of it is fairly similar to most gravel rallies, with just some very specific safari-esque, foibles that, you need to get you on top of. I nearly carried on with Safari then, but we'll go back to Sweden. So overall, I was pretty impressed. I mean, we've obviously covered the whole Toyota side of things, but Toyota's drivers actually impressed me.
Yeah.
I think was it the last? I think it was the last WRC episode we did, and I was saying that Elfyn just didn't make enough of his Fridays. Well, he's only gone and basically proved me wrong, hasn't he? I think something over the winter has clicked with him. I think losing out on the championship last year to Seb in such fine margins has probably highlighted the fact that he just wasn't. I am going to stand by that comment. He wasn't making much of his Fridays beforehand. The past 2 events, though, he's done a lot better and he's pushed. And it seems to me that he's willing to make a bit more of a push on those Fridays, commit a little bit more, because he knows that if he doesn't, Seb's just going to come along and take it. Because, back in let's say the Volkswagen days, Seb could always win a rally from the front. You look at Seb Loeb, again, he could always win a rally from the front. It's slightly different these days, obviously, because the way that the rallies are run. But effectively, if he was always first on the road and he was always leading the events, and that's what Elfyn has got to do.
I definitely think so. I think the thing which must have hurt him last year, apart from was it coming second for the 5th time or something, it's the fact that Ogier didn't do all the rounds. Must have really grated. You've got this guy who popped up and just won rallies.
Yeah.
And
that's his consistency.
It's this score points, it's sensible and this and the other. I think sometimes you've just got to know. You've just got to go and fill your boots. And I watch football for my sins, and I think like anything in sport, you always want to see a performance. I would personally rather see my team lose but put in an absolutely cracking attempt to win. I just want to see a performance from people trying and thinking.
Have a go.
Yeah, and when you've got somebody thinking, oh, well, somebody's more than 20 seconds ahead, rather than risk this, the guy behind me is 4 minutes behind, I'll just pootle around here because it's safe.
It's not entertaining. Safe drives aren't entertaining. I mean, if you're about to win the championship, all right, fair play, but 3rd, 4th, 5th, when Rovanperä left that year, and it was just basically Elfyn and Thierry, it was, in a lot of the press, it was Elfyn who was favourite to win, and he should have done. He really should have done. Don't get me wrong, I'm pleased for Thierry that he got his championship, but I have to say, I think that's the only chance he's going to get, especially in the Hyundai. So if Elfyn has actually found something in himself, fair play to him, and I hope he goes on.
I think the problem is, for everybody else now, that Toyota have cornered the market. They obviously have got the best car, and they also appear to have all the best drivers at the moment.
They do have an amazing set of drivers.
You could argue they've got the world's top 3 drivers, backed up on most rallies with 2 other people who are equally capable of getting a podium. So not only are you stopping people potentially winning other rallies, they're not even getting on the podium. They're picking up what's left, so that their points tally is minimal.
They're just going to run away with it. I mean, further down, Oliver Solberg, I still think he could have won it had he not gone off on stage 3 and lost 30 seconds. And apparently he was overdriving it. He underestimated how difficult it was going to be as first car on the road in Sweden. And he overdrove it. But he's got that potential. I still think he's got that potential to take that fight and maybe even take the championship this year.
I think he's like your proper top drivers. He's got that natural raw speed. Some people don't have that. They've got the smoothness to try and speed up, and other people you try to smooth out a bit of almost recklessness. I think Solberger's got that. Oh my God, how's he managed to do that?
He's got the look as well, because a little bit further on, I can't remember what stage it was off the top of my head, but he went off the road, not massively, just like drove it into a ditch, pulled it back out again, and everything was fine. A few minutes down the road, Thierry comes to the same corner, goes off, and loses a shed load of time. So he has the look, at the moment at least. He's going to have to really push hard as well, being at the top of the field to maintain that if he wants the championship. But we'll see how he does in Safari.
He's going to make it a tight championship. I think the top 3 are all going to be driving the same car, but I think it could end up being quite tight because the only people they're going to end up realistically taking points off are one another. Ogier, Evans and Solberg, I can see them potentially winning every rally this year between them.
Failing something amazing happening. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you never know with the Safari what might happen.
Well, I've got a good idea.
Well, yeah. I mean, one major downpour down there and it's game over instantly, so we'll see how that works. What were your thoughts about Katsuta in Sweden then? Because at one point on after Friday, he was leading and doing really well. His pace was good. He seemed to have his head in the right place, going well for a win. And then he woke up Saturday morning and no traction. What's that all about?
When you get drivers say no traction, the car hasn't changed. The ground conditions haven't changed massively. When you hear a driver saying that, you're thinking, is it in the head? Have they lost that bit of feel? Whereas on Friday, I could lean on it a bit and it was there. And I've got to the second corner today and it's not there. And it's like in your own car when you hear that noise.
Yeah. And it starts playing on your mind.
Yeah. And then it gets into your head. I think it can just be that. I think also the thing with the Saturday morning is, you've got Evans, who's no doubt woken up and thinking, hold on a second here. Solberg's binned it. Ogier's on holiday. And I'm in second. As he looked at himself in the mirror while he's been doing his teeth and giving himself a bit of a talking to and going, come on.
I think he did. I think he woke up that morning and he just sent it. He went, it's my, what have I got to lose? I don't want to come second again. I'm just going to send it and see what happens. I do still think it was a measured drive, just less measured. Yeah. It was far less conservative than previous rallies that he'd done. But then obviously he's a previous winner. That's his 3rd win on the event now.
Yeah. Which is something pretty impressive for somebody who comes from a non-Scandinavian, non-snowy country. In fact, you come from a country famous for rain and mud.
Yeah, which is pretty slippy to be fair, but it was even faster this year than in previous years. It really is Finland on snow. 150k down an incredibly long straight to break for a 90 right. That's just crazy. I mean, very highly impressive, but don't get me wrong. Force drivers then. In Monty, they both had an off after really putting in quite an impressive performance. So both of them wanted to come back in Sweden and do better. And I think they both did do better. Yes, they had a couple of offs, a little bit of mishaps. Josh filled his rad full of snow by braking a little too early. It's easily done. I don't really think they put much of a foot wrong, though, in Sweden. I think overall it was a very promising, very encouraging performance from both boys.
Definitely. It's like looking at my notes again here. I've just got next to Hyundai, hopeless. Next to MSport, hope.
Yeah. I think there genuinely is some.
I would imagine the MSport camp after Monte Carlo, now after Sweden, was actually quite a happy place.
I do. Yeah, I think
they've got no reason to be unhappy.
No.
We've talked about the tyres. They dropped a few clangers between them, but there's no way they went wrong. Like I said earlier, they got a stage win. Happy days. Sexy is coming back for a few more rallies later on. I think what I'd like to see is Sesks have a rally where he doesn't end up having a problem. It was just good to see him pull together the rally. It can't be that far off. And I think if he pulls together a rally, I think you're going to see more than one stage win. I don't think you'll see him win anything, but...
He was leading Saudi Arabia for a while. Yeah. I think... he's already got his first podium, so I think more podiums are definitely possible. If he can get the sponsorship deal behind him, hopefully for next year, he might actually get a third factory drive, because obviously with MSport, it's a paid drive. It's not a normal factory drive like Toyota. I would love to see that, and he's so deserving of that drive. Pretty much everybody was backing him to get the seat this year, but it's a money thing. So I really want to see Martins get that drive. He's quick enough. He's pretty consistent. And like you say, without these silly little mistakes creeping in, which is expected for a driver of his experience, I think he would actually be on for a winner.
Mm.
I really do. Can we just highlight something? Just how good John has been. If you are to compare like for like, the only real choice is Greg Munster. When Greg came in, he was conservative in his first year. It was a learning year. Fine. Second, third, and subsequent years, he's just never really upped that game. Now, this year, 2026, Josh McElwain is into his second year and he's already making improvements. John, however, has come in and, as we've just already said, he's on par with Josh already.
I would say he's actually ahead of him. I wouldn't say he's on par. Look at the simple way of explaining that. Look at the results so far. And at the end of the day, it's a results game.
Yes, it is a results game. But it is down to the stage, even down to the stage times, and the pace that both of them are showing. I think both of them together have done a better job, both separately and together, than Greg did throughout the entire time he was there.
Definitely, yeah. MSport, it's all positive. I'm going to stop calling them Ford. I'm just going to call them MSports, because it's quite clear that Ford aren't going to be around next year.
I don't know. Rich Miller once said, Malcolm's got Ford running through him like writing does through rock. So we will see. He has been linked with a Chinese company, I think it was, Linksys. I've never heard of him. Wouldn't have a clue.
Going back to I've heard the phrase before, he's got blood, Ford running through his veins. Yes, MSport have always been a Ford team. You can go back to Malcolm's rallying days. Yeah, Ford started off in Escort. Oh, he's in an Audi Quattro. All right, he's back to Ford and he's doing this and he's doing that. And he's helping develop the RS200. And now he's in a Metro 6R4.
Yeah, but that's the driver market though, isn't it?
And, sorry, hold on. He's now in a Vauxhall Astra.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, we're now in an Astra.
Oh, hang on, he's in a Peugeot.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's all changed. We're back to an Escort Cosworth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get, fine, say he's got Ford in his veins. He has done other things apart from Ford.
Yeah, no, he has. And he's a businessman at the end of the day. So he has to maintain his business.
Correct.
And the only way of doing that is by going with a manufacturer that's willing to put money in. I mean, to be honest, this is in large part to the lack of action from the WRC promoter. The fact that the promoter just hasn't done enough to do their job right, really, in making the sport what it should be. I love the Safari. I respect it enormously. It's one of those events that used to separate the men from the boys before we had girls joining in. It was a true endurance event. Obviously, these days, much more of a sprint event than it ever used to be, but it is still an event that needs to be respected. And this year, we've got pretty much the same people entering. Seb Ogier is back. I have checked. He's in the entry list.
Definitely.
I had to double check after last time. So we've got the same players running in reasonably the same sort of order. I think Ogier will be second on the road this time, won't he? So we'll see how that plays out. The base, though, has moved, so the super special down around Nairobi is no longer. They've moved north.
Is that the one which resembles the rugby pitch with the corners bulldozed into it?
Pretty much, yeah. It was like super wide open, pretty super flat. I think you had Nairobi in the distance, and it was just huge red clouds of dust rooster-tailing off the back. I mean, it did its job, as a spectator stage, did its job, but it'd be nice to see what they pull out of the bag for this year's event, to be honest. They do have a lot of the same stages coming back, which is nice. We've got Warrior coming back and a few of the others as well. So we've definitely got some good stages. What are your thoughts on Safari, then? I'm
the same as you. I think it's a historic thing. I instantly think of safari cars, grills, spotlights, mounted high and near the wing mirrors. I think of snorkels. I went back to try and find out when it all changed. I would class the last traditional rally as 2002 when Colin McRae won it. That was when the WRC stopped using Kenya. Endurance. No, it's not endurance. It's 350 kilometres of stages, the same as all the other rounds of the WRC. Yes, it's rougher, but it's not that. Go back to 2020, 1,010 kilometres of stages, 3 times the length.
So only in the last 5 years has it changed to a sprint then?
No, 20. It was 2002 was the last. That was so when it got dropped after the 2002.
I thought you said 2020.
No, it's me. It's
2002 was 1,000.
I've got number blind. So 2002.
All right. So yeah.
And when it came back, it's then been put into the WRC template for a better description of it. So you're now down to 350 kilometres. This year, the longest stage is 25 kilometres long.
That's standard. Yeah, it's not the Safari with it we knew.
Which isn't screaming endurance at me, because if you were to convert that back into English, that's no doubt less than 20 miles. Is it less than 20 miles?
It's less than, yeah.
It's a lot less. It's
about 15, I think.
15, 16 miles.
like that.
2002, the longest stage then, proper job, 106 kilometres.
Bloody hell. I was thinking 30, 40, something along those lines, maybe 50, 100 kilometres.
And that got run, I think I think it was multiple times. It might have been 2, if not 3 times around the same stage. So, even going back 20 years, it was, even with WRC cars, it was still a very, very different beastie to any other round of the WRC. Now, it's got the length. I get it about, you've got the heat, you've got the lie of the land and all the other things. Makes it very unique, but it isn't anywhere near the endurance event it used to be.
No, and it probably makes it easier for the guys to put it on and get it in the WRC, but it would be lovely. It's one of those, like Monte Carlo, Safari, RAC. Those were the cornerstones of the year. We've already lost the British long time ago. So to lose what was such a classic and iconic event in its true form is a bit of a shame. I get it, but it would be lovely to start and see some of those events come back. Well, it really would.
One of the positives of it, it's a figure I look for all the rounds of the WRC, is the percentage of stage miles of all total mileage. Monte's is a loser so far, where only 22% of the total mileage was stage miles. The Safari's nearly 30. So nearly 30% of the overall mileage is stages. So it's quite a compact event.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that we get a sudden downpour randomly somewhere, hopefully in the middle of a stage to really send the cat among the pigeons. I'm hoping that we get some surprises. Not that I wish Toyota bad, but I just hope we get something that's just going to turn the table on its head, at least for Safari, because post-Safari we get a run of European events that are all very similar and we pretty much know how they're going to play out. So I think for the final true unique event of the year, if we can just get something a bit random just to happen through the stages, I think that's what we really need.
I wouldn't hold your breath. So Toyota in its current modern format, Toyota have won every single one of them. Elfin won last year. Your favourite driver, because he must be your favourite driver because you have him in every round. He returns.
It's going to take me a while.
Yeah, he returns and he's won the Safari twice.
He has.
So then I thought, what about young Mr. Solberg? What about he's done in the Safari? He has entered it a few times in WRC2 and not really done anything that special. He's done it twice in a Rally 1 car when he dabbled with Hyundai. One of them was a DNF and the other one he finished 10th. I think it's going to be worth watching. It's going to be interesting to see. He has improved as a driver, there's no doubt about that. I think that'll be interesting to see, that being in the top team and being a full-time WRC Rally 1 driver and everything else combined, let's see how he does. I'm not discounting him. Well, I am actually, because that'll become obvious later on. So,
I was going to say, do you want to give us your top 3 for Safari?
Yes, I've got a top 3 for this. You'd be over the moon to decide to hear that in first place I've got Ogier.
Okay.
He's been on the beach. He's chilled out.
Yeah, he knows it.
Yeah, he hasn't been to Sweden. He's got all that distraction. He knows the crack. He's going to turn up and do his typical, thoroughly professional, proficient job, and he's going to win. I think Elfin's going to be second. Ogier is going to open up such a gap that Evans is actually going to sit there and think, right, I'll just follow this guy. That's that for this round. Second place, maybe try and throw in the super special and manipulate the points machine to his advantage best he can. And then in third, because this is going to be another Toyota benefit, is this, I've got Katsuta. He did very well in Sweden. Why can't he do well here? Because I think Solberg, I think he's going to set some stunning times, but I don't think he's going to do very well overall.
So what was that top three then? Just summarise that really quick.
Ogier,
got
Evans,
Ogier, Evans, Katsuta.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm tempted to throw a wild card in. In fact, I'll do a top three and then I'll stick a wild card in. So I too am going to go Ogier to win. I think Katsuta second because Katsuta actually has had a lot of success on Safari. I think he's in with a shout. I'm not sure. I don't think he can quite get the win in Safari yet. So I'm going to go with him in second. I'm going to say Evans third with a wild card of...
Well, what? Can I just clarify this wild card? Where does this wild card finish?
Well, I don't know. I want to put him in the third. I want to put the wild card in third, but I think realistically speaking, probably fourth. And I'll go with Josh.
Do you think we ought to start predict what we think will be the top three, and then have another thing for most surprising or most improved driver of the event?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, or the most, or even the most unlikely, not the unlikeliest thing.
Driver of the rally.
Yeah, driver of the rally. Whatever. It's just
a driver of the rally. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. So I'm going to go Ogier to win, Katsuta second, and who did I say?
You've got Ogier, Katsuta, and Evans.
And Evans, yeah. I'll go with those as my top three. I think it's a bit more sensible. It's probably a little bit safer as well. I might actually get some sort of luck this time around. Driver of the day.
Well, you've already gone for John Armstrong. You've had that now.
No, Josh. I said Josh. Yeah, Josh. Yeah. I think John will struggle on the Safari. To be honest, it's just not going to be the best event for him. I might be wrong. You never know.
I'm making a note of this. You're not going to escape and try and...
No, I know.
Since we've now decided we're having this surprise driver of the event and you've already selected yours, I'm going to go with Lappy in his Hyundai. I just think this is such a different rally from the last two, hopefully warmer and less snow, that they've had problems with the Hyundai. Maybe it just decides it works in Africa.
Let's not forget the Hyundai's actually been really good in Safari. In previous years, Oit has flown in that car. Absolutely flown. There's certainly reasons to be hopeful that Hyundai's going to have a better event. They need it. They really do need it. Because if it continues like this, I can see them giving up at the end of 26. I really can.
Well, they've already hinted at the fact that they're not going to be playing the WRC 27 card. And they're looking
They've confirmed it.
Yeah, they're going down the Rally 2 thing. So are they just going to play out the year and call it quits at the end of that and let's go Rally 2? Or even, have they already switched all their engineers to start playing around with a Rally 2 car?
Or worse, GT. Maybe they're just lining up to leave. Right, you're off next week, aren't you, Garry?
I'm off next week. I think I'm going to have to try and hack into some hotel Wi-Fi or maybe try and find a sports bar. I doubt if I'm going to get to see any rallying. I might be able to twist somebody's arm to put the first Grand Prix of the year on. And failing that, I just have to resort to the Six Nations, and as absolute dire thing, I might actually find some Premiership football to ignore.
Yeah, well, you have a good time. Just so that you are aware, in March, we are starting our Women in Motorsport Month, where we will finally be able to reveal our third host. I've been waiting to do this for a while. We'll get to find out her story, and she will also be interviewing our female guests to highlight their stories as women in motorsport. We've also got a few other special guests lined up as well, which we will announce as and when. In the meantime, hope you've enjoyed listening to the show, watching the show, however you consume it. Don't forget to check out our socials at TMF Pod 23. That's at TMF pod23. And of course, you can check out our website at www.themotorsportfiles.com as well. Right, Gary, great to see you again. Have a great time wherever you may be going next week, and we will speak soon.
Thank you.
All right, mate. See you later.
Okay. Bye.